Okay, today I'm doing Venus in Leo in the 5th house. So if you go along with me, I'm going to share my slideshow with you, and then you can figure out what that means for you if you have Venus in Aries, which I do. Then you want to go to my first video, which you'll find that I made a few weeks ago. And then Venus in Taurus, Venus in Gemini, Venus in Cancer, all before this one. So next slide. What we have is that, I'm just going to make this smaller. What we have is that we have Venus has an inner and outer voice. So it's our inner and outer needs, and it's the way in which we hear our own voice and the way we listen. As we hear ourselves, our inner talk, we can see then how we project that into the outer world, and then we can see what it is reflected back to us by our inner talk. If you think about that, the way we're talking to ourselves, we project it out into the world, and then we receive it back. So generally, whatever mood we're in, we're going to receive that back. Not 100%, but generally that is the case. And then we've got that Venus is to do with our inner needs and values, and the Sun rules Leo and the 5th house. And the big question with Venus is, how do I talk to myself? So when we understand that, we can begin to remedy it, meaning that we don't have to stay stuck in ways in which, astrology, a situation may not be working for us, because we have always the higher vibration and the lower vibration of any archetype or sign. And then you've got here my chart, which you can see. And if you can see my mouse here, what we have is that I've got Venus here in Aries, but I've also got it in Leo because it's the 5th house. So this one today actually is for me, but so is also the first video I made, which was Venus in Aries. And you probably will need to watch both to understand yourself at a deeper level. And you can see that my Venus is 18 degrees there of Aries. And this chart's dated the 14th of July, so the transits are not exactly where they are at the moment. So, and Venus moves quite quickly around the chart. I think it's about 225 days. Then we have a natal chart represents our potential. It also represents what we have, where we have been and where we are at and what we can become. And we have free will, and knowing this means we get to make choices. It is important that we look at the totality of a chart, and in evolutionary astrology, the baseline used will be Pluto and the North Node and the South Node. So really worth knowing that in evolutionary astrology, because we're looking at the soul, and then we're looking at past life and this life, but we're also looking with the polarity of Pluto when we look at the Pluto in our chart and the aspects to Pluto, or the aspects Pluto makes. So now I'm going to read, we've got Venus in Leo, ruler is the Sun. So if you have this placement, I do as well, because mine's in the 5th house. So here we have a pattern and need for ultimate self-actualization. The sun that shines sustains life on this earth. Venus in Leo is what creativity is, the being able to sustain who we are through deeds and feelings, feeling our specialness and worth. The feeling of being at the center of the universe, to explore self fully and to bring forward the fruits for all to see and love. Venus in Leo not only needs, but wants to know how special others think they are. They need to hear it and see that others love what they are doing and who they are. If Venus in Leo does not get feedback, then this can make them feel worthless and unworthy. Venus in Leo projects outwardly to others what they need naturally, and this means it is not superficial, and it is indeed their inner voice, the way they hear themselves. They can struggle with others who they perceive to be in competition with them, particularly if others are doing the same line of work that they are doing, and so forth. And the Venus in Leo person is like a blank slate of or the Sahara Desert, waiting to be decorated and adorned with life and beauty, and they feel all is possible. Going on, it says, when they feel limited, then comes frustration, the not being able to do what one wants, and this is useful because it helps to tone down the ego and ideas of grandiosity. If they feel they are being blocked, they can behave like a child or a little monster wanting its way. They are concerned with the future, positive in feelings, and can focus on what they are wanting to accomplish. They like to play in love and keep people on their toes and keep things fresh, and they will treat the other with love when returned. They like being with those who emit a similar vibration, and if taken for granted in any way, they can withdraw, and become disdainful and be mean. They want love and attention and to be recognized, and they can be creative to extract love out of others and to get the attention that they want. They can manifest through their body and use sexuality and the act of being sensual to achieve what they desire. These people desire one partner, but do like to be playful and will flirt with others as part of their makeup. They are about joy, being spontaneous, and are here to celebrate who they are, and this is their path to growth. And we can balance this with the polarity of Aquarius to objectify self and to learn to be equal to everyone else, to learn to understand the bigger picture and to include others, and to be comfortable with not needing to hear how amazing they are, and just know that they are and that they are contributing to the whole. So next we have, let's see here, oops, I missed a slide, back again. What we got here, let me see. So it says mankind is engaged in, this is Uganda, mankind is engaged in an eternal quest for that something else he hopes will bring him happiness, complete and unending. And for those individual souls who have sought and found God, the search is over, and he is that something else. So it's good when we get to a point of understanding and knowing self, because then we stop looking outside ourselves and looking for desires to fulfill us. And, you know, then when we do that, we get closer to source, whatever we call it God. And that is, you know, it's worth knowing, and it's all subjective because we've all got a different experience of what God is and what that means to us in our hearts. Then we have Carl Gustav Jung, passed in 1961, and I read a lot of his work. Union therapy is a brilliant tool, and he basically says here that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So the more we know self, the more we can objectify and begin to have better lives and sort ourselves out. And we can do that through astrology. He also says what you resist not only persists, but it will grow in size, and resistance determines the magnitude of our problems or confrontations. So then I have for you the source material here. We've got Jeff Wolf Green. Get the book, The Evolutionary Journey of the Soul. Brilliant book on Pluto and Pluto 1. And then the quotes were Carl Gustav Jung and a quote by Uganda, and the pictures are Google. And if you want a reading with me, what you can do is go to my email or see all of the links below, and you can book a session with me. And we can look at your chart together to be able to analyze what it means for you so that you can begin to know yourself at a deeper level. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll be back next week with Venus in Virgo. Catch you later.